At SAP Concur, we've long held on to a mantra which is focusing on building the expense report that writes itself.
That's Doug Anderson, Senior Vice President of Travel Products at SAP Concur, the global provider of travel and expense management services. His job is to provide the tools that help organizations stay ahead of trends in business travel. Trends like direct booking of flights and hotels outside of corporate channels, and the growing expectation among employees that business travel tools be as user-friendly as their favorite streaming music apps. Hello, and welcome to the Intelligent Business Podcast, presented by SAP Concur. In this series, we examine how organizations are using human intelligence coupled with emerging technologies to gain better visibility into how their money is being spent and how risk is being managed. I'm your host, Michael Barnwell, Executive Editor at the Wall Street Journal's Custom Studios. In today's episode, we hear from Mike McCormick of the Global Business Travel Association, as well as Mike Ketting and Doug Anderson of SAP Concur. They discuss some of the biggest trends in business travel management, and they offer tips on how to take advantage of these trends to become an intelligent business. We begin with Mike McCormick, Executive Director and Chief Operating Officer of GBTA, the Global Business Travel Association. Mike, I'd like to start by discussing a survey of travel managers called Lost in Translation that was released recently by GBTA. Can you tell us a bit about the purpose of this study?
A survey we conducted focused on the attitudes that travel buyers have around travel, around risk management, and all the things that they're facing when they're really trying to optimize travel for their companies today.
One of the key findings in this survey was the trend toward employee travel bookings made outside of corporate programs. What's driving this?
In today's environment, business travel drives business growth. So companies really have to make the most of their travel dollars. The trends that are emerging are really a core to not only just travel, but really a whole company's attitudes towards their employees and around how they can really help their employees both be productive, but also have a competitive advantage when it comes to attracting or retaining talent within a company. Not to mention all the issues around risk and risk management and being out there in a global marketplace today.
So about this phenomenon of employees booking travel outside the usual corporate channels, are travel managers keeping pace with it? And what percentage of them are using technology to capture data from these outside bookings?
That trend has certainly gone in the right direction, meaning that 40% of travel buyers feel that they are more flexible today than they were 3 to 5 years ago. But still, companies on the whole aren't capturing 100% of their booking data. And you still have about 20% of this spend, what we call invisible spend, out there where it's not being captured within those programs.
At the same time, of course, there are risks in not capturing booking data. One of those addressed in your survey revolves around duty of care, the responsibility of companies to guard the safety of traveling employees. In order for companies to get a full view of where the travelers are at any moment, it seems they need to see booking and expense data in one place. How many currently have the capability to do this?
Only half of companies, a little over half, are integrating both travel and expense tools, and only 27% do that as well as integrate duty of care safety tools into their environment. There's a lot of room for improvement there. Even within a company, if you're not fully integrating the tools, travel managers, programs need to right away adopt some very simple basic tools to make sure that they're tracking their travelers and can identify them and contact them in an emergency situation.
There seems to be an inherent tension within organizations between an employee's demand for direct booking and consumerized tools and management's need to maintain policy compliance across the travel program.
I think in a lot of ways, really in most ways, that tension, though, is really healthy. It means that the travelers are pushing the envelope, looking for ways to develop and grow the business. They want to accomplish their business objectives. And clearly a key way of doing that is being on the road and being out with customers and out with prospects and out with their fellow employees and being in person. On the other hand, the corporation is paying the bills, has their objectives, and has needs that they need to accomplish with their, let's say, corporate objectives around risk management and around duty of care. So it is a balance. There is a tension, but I think it's a healthy one.
We're speaking now with Mike Ketting, the Executive Vice President of Supplier and Travel Management Company Services for SAP Concur. Mike, when I spoke with Mike McCormick of GBTA, he mentioned a phenomenon in travel management called invisible spend. Can you expand on that? What is invisible spend and why should companies be concerned about it?
Invisible spend from a corporate travel perspective is travel spend that is made outside of the traditional channels that are managed by a corporation. Anytime a traveler makes a reservation through some other channel, so for instance, going directly to the airline or hotel website, those are the sorts of bookings that, because they didn't go through that travel agency channel, many companies now have no visibility to that spend until perhaps weeks or even months later when the traveler is submitting that expense for reimbursement in their expense report.
From what you're seeing, how